Hey G Squad, welcome back to episode of Is It Worth It? Today's episode we got this cool thing here. And basically what this is a Delta 2 Max power station. You can see for the one that we got right here from a brand called Ecoflow. And this is what the package looks like when you guys do get it. Let me actually open up to show you guys what the inside looks like. So obviously for the product itself, it's gonna be really heavy, so you do want to handle with care. If you guys need help, feel free to ask someone or put this down on the ground to open up. I believe inside there should be another box when you guys do get it. This is probably the packaging you guys do get when it does ship to you guys, but we'll find out. All right, so I just opened it and it looks like this is the package I do get, because if you guys do look at the inside, this is what the inside looks like. So the very first thing inside right here, it looks like they do provide you guys a box, and right underneath the box they do provide you guys a user manual to teach you guys how to use it. But let's open up this box first. I'm assuming inside this box should be like the normal stuff, like your cable to charge it up, whether if you guys use like the solar panel option or like the wall charging option. They did mention that if you guys do use the wall cable and also solar panel at the same time, if you guys do use the correct or the most powerful solar panel option, you can recharge it in 43 minutes. But if you guys only use the cable option, you can recharge it in 1.1 hour, which is really fast. But once you guys do open up, you can see how inside we do have a bunch of cables. So let's do take it out. First one inside right here, we do have a card cable for you guys to plug it in to recharge it. Next up right here, they do provide you guys the DC cable for you to use. Next thing inside, we do have the wall charger for you to use. And that's pretty much everything inside. So it looks like there's no solar cable for you guys to use when you guys do get it. So I guess that is provided for you guys when you guys do purchase solar panel. So if you guys don't have solar panel, then don't worry about it. But it's very nice to have solar panel to use, especially if you guys are planning to get one of these for like camping or whatever. But right underneath that, we do have the protection layer. If you guys do remove it, this is the protection layer. And right underneath that, we do have the pot inside. So what I'm doing right now is to put this down on the ground and then lift it up and put it on the table to show you guys what it looks like. All right, so let's do take it out. You can see how the top part and the bottom part is protected. And it is very heavy, so you do want to handle with care. Like I mentioned, if you guys need help, make sure to get help to lift it up. But let's take this out from the protection layer here first. So once you guys remove it, this is what the pot looks like. If you guys see my previous video, I actually reviewed like the Delta and the Delta 2. This time right here, we do have the Delta 2 Max, which is slightly more bigger than the other one. But not only is the product bigger, but also give you guys more power and you guys do it as well. I think they mentioned for this one can support up to like I think 2400 or 3600 watts of power when you guys do use that. But we'll test that out in a second. Let's take a look and see what's on here first. So the first thing I have to notice on here, they do have a slimmer design. They do have the handle on both sides for you guys to carry around if you guys do need to. But like I mentioned, it is very heavy, so keep that in mind. The fan part right here, we do have the brand name, Ecoflow Max. And then on the side, they do have the option for the output and input option. So to make things a little bit easier, let me actually bring the camera a bit closer to show you guys what's on here. So that way I don't have to keep carrying around. All right, so this is what the part looks like in the front. So this part right here is the ventilation fan to prevent it from overheating when you do use it. This part right here, we do have the brand name and it does say Max like I mentioned. If you guys turn on the side, this side right here, we do have the different options for you to use. So there's two USB-A options, which is the regular one, and then two of them are fast charge. And we do have two USB-C options that provide you guys 100 watts each. So feel free to plug in two cables at the same time to recharge both your laptop at the same time if you guys do want to. Right here, we do have the button for you to turn it on and turn the USB option. And here is the main power for you guys to press to activate the product. So you see how when you guys press and hold it, it does turn on. The display on here is pretty much the same as any other Delta device I showed you before. Shows the input, output in terms of how much power it does provide, how much longer the battery life on here, and the battery percentage. So currently it's at 30%. Right underneath that, it does show you guys an indicator light to let you guys know if the Bluetooth option is on. So that way you can connect on the app. So we'll show you guys how to connect it in a second. Let's turn on to the back part right here and show you guys what's in the back first. So on this side right here, they also have the brand name, and we also have the air ventilation option for you to use. And pretty much what's on here is the option for you guys to open up. That way you can plug in your extra battery if you guys do want one. So there's one for one and one for the other one. So feel free to use two extra batteries at the same time if you guys want to when you guys are camping or something. So that's what it actually looks like on this side. Now let's turn on to the last side right here to show you guys what it actually looks like on that side. All right, so on this side right here, you can see we do have the 6 AC option for you to use. This one actually has all 3 grounded cables, if you can see. So all 6 of them are all grounded, which is really nice. If you guys seen my previous video of the other power station that I mentioned before in terms of the Delta version, it does have like some of them are 2 options and some of them are 3. And I mentioned how if they had all like grounded option, it would make a lot more sense. So I'm very happy that they do have it for this one. So that way, if you have to plug in a 3-prong cable or 2-prong cable, it will work. So this is a better design. And I do have the button here for you guys to turn on as well, if you guys do need to. And bottom right here, we do have the car option for you to plug it in to your car cable. or car socket. And here we do have the DC option for 3A max. Same thing for this one, we do have the button for the press. And right on top right here, we do have the option for it to open up. This one not magnetic. You guys have to push back in to lock it back in. But they do have two of the solar option and one for the car option. So I believe you guys can use either one or maybe both of them at the same time. But it is 15A max for each one of them. And right here we do have the option for it to plug in to recharge it using the wall output. Here we do have the overload protection. And for this one, it does have something different on here. They do have a switch for you guys to turn on and turn off. If you guys want fast or slow speed for the AC charging option. Obviously, if you guys want the faster option, you guys can keep it on this side. And that's pretty much everything that's on here. So what I'm going to do right now is a plug-in cable to show you guys how fast it does charge when you do use it. And then we'll probably test out the different options on here in terms of powering on the AC option and also charging up a laptop. All right, so I just plugged it in. You can see how much power it does provide when you guys do use it. You can see how the number is going up slowly, but definitely probably got a lot of power on here for the input option when you do use it. So it's still going up. So definitely probably got way more power than the other one that I showed you before in terms of Delta 2, etc. So right now it's at 1700 already, and now it's maintaining around 1700. So that's a lot of power that's being generated onto your portable power station to recharge it. And imagine how it probably takes an hour to recharge it, or maybe less than an hour. So the power that you see on here is equivalent to what you guys would normally get if you guys were to use like electric kettle, which is really awesome. So just by looking at that, you can see how much power it does provide when you guys use it already. And considering how big the power station is, it went from like 30% to 32% already. That's actually pretty fast. And the other thing, if you guys notice how when we do plug it in, it doesn't even turn on the fan. Because of how well built the product is, it don't really turn on the fan just yet. Maybe if it goes like 3000 or 2000 watts, then it will turn on the fan. But that's pretty much how you guys do charge it and how much power it does provide when you do use it. It goes as high as 1700 watts. And now you can start to see how the fan does turn on. But even for the fan that turns on right here is not too loud when you guys do use it. Maybe when you guys have more stuff plugged in, it will be a little bit more louder. Right now it's actually pretty quiet. So one right now is plugging cable to test out the USB-C option first to show you guys how much power it does provide when you do use it. And we'll do it while it's charging the power station here. Alright, so I got both my laptop right here. Let's plug it in and give it a try. So I'll plug in my MacBook Pro here first. Once you guys plug it in, give it a few minutes or a few seconds to kind of load up. And now see how much power it does provide when you have to use it. So 94 is maintained at 94. If you guys plug in another laptop at the same time, this one right here is a MacBook Air, so it should be less. But once you guys plug it in, you can see how high it can go. 165, 166, and then 167. So the power it does provide on here is pretty powerful when you do use it. And the input option on here is still at 1700, so it definitely works pretty well. One right now is to test out the AC option in the back to show you guys how much power it does provide when you have to use it while charging the laptop at the same time. So I'll probably use like my electric kettle and something else at the same time. So I'm gonna go get it and bring it over. Alright, so I got the cable plugged into the back. This is what it actually looks like. So there's the input option there, and bottom right here we do have the output for the electric kettle. And like I mentioned, you guys have to press the button right here for you guys to activate it. So make sure to press that first in order for you to use it. So now let's give it a try and see how well it does work when you guys to use it. And then we'll probably add something on top. Alright, so here we do have the electric kettle. If you have to turn it on, so far so good, it does turn on. If you guys do look at how much power it does provide, let's see what happens. You can see how the power on here splits. So currently it's providing around 1600 watts for the input option and then 1600 watts for the output option. So definitely probably got a lot of power on here when you guys do use that. Let's turn off for now and show you guys what happens. You can see how the numbers start to decrease and it converts back over this side. It doesn't provide you guys that power instantly. It slowly builds up, you can see. But eventually it go back up to 1700. And notice how on here I show you guys the output on here, which is USB-C, and here we do have the AC option. And now we're back to 1700. One right now is to unplug the input option and show you guys how well it does work if you guys were to use the electric kettle and also this product right here at the same time to show you guys when I support the power on here for both of them at the same time. So let's unplug the cable and back first for the input option. Alright, so I just unplugged the cable. If you guys turn on for this one, we just turned it on. When you guys do look at how much power it does provide on here, it's currently at 1600 watts, especially with the USB-C option at the same time. So about the same power on here as what you guys get on the electric kettle. But if you guys do turn the electric kettle at the same time, let's see what happens. So we got it on. And you see how the number jumped up to 2500. And it does support both of them at the same time. So the product definitely does work if you guys want to use two devices at the same time and charge the other device at the same time, like a laptop if you guys want to, you can see. Now let's stop both of them. And what I want to do right now is to plug back in the input option to show you guys how well it does work and when it actually works if you guys were to use both of them at the same time and the input at the same time. Alright, so we just plug that in the input option. Let's turn it on. So we got this one on for steamer option. If you guys turn on this one as well, let's see what happens. Notice how the input option went to like 2500 and the input option went to like 3000 and it turns off. In terms of overload protection on here, so you definitely do have the option to use two devices at the same time, but just keep in mind that if you guys were to use the input option at the same time, it does have the overload protection that kicks in immediately when you guys do use it. So the product definitely does work when you guys do use it. If you guys want to use multiple devices at the same time in terms of AC option and the USB-C option at the same time. So definitely very powerful in terms of what you guys do get. And see how high it does go in terms of 2500 watts when you guys do use it for electric kettle and your steamer and also your USB-C option at the same time. So definitely very powerful in terms of what you guys do get and charges pretty fast. You can see how it's at 37% already, even when we're using two devices at the same time. All right, so now that we test out the product to show you guys how well it does work when you guys do use it, you can see how powerful it is when you guys do use it on this one compared to the previous version. I'll compare the other one in terms of the Delta 2 versus Delta 2 Max in a different video when I do get a chance. But you see when you guys use the product, it definitely does work. It has everything on here in terms of overload protection, overcharge protection, and etc. One other thing that I forgot to mention that I just realized just now is the fact that I forgot to show you guys what it actually looks like for the slow charging option. Let me turn on the back part and turn the slow charging option and show you guys how much power it does provide when you guys use the slow charging option. So let's turn it on for slow charging option. Let's plug that in the cable and let me show you guys how much power it does provide when you guys do use it. So right now we do a slow charging option. Let's see what happens in terms of slow charging option of how much power it does provide. So it seems like for the slow charging option, it really is really slow. It's maintaining around 384 watts and it shows you guys how it probably takes around 6 hours. So that's a huge difference compared to what you guys saw earlier. So if I do turn it back on for the fast charging option, let's see what happens. All right, so I just turned back on the fast charging option. Notice how the number is going up a lot more. So I guess if you guys are not in a rush, then you guys can feel free to use the slow charging option. But if you guys want the best of the best, then you definitely want to turn on fast charging option. You can see the huge difference on here. Slow charging is around like 400 watts, and then the fast charging option is around 1700 watts when you have to use that. All right, so now that I show you guys how to use the product and everything else, before I forget to mention, let me show you guys how to actually connect it on the app. So the app that you guys want to download is called Ecoflow app. And once you guys got downloaded, this is what it actually looks like. So immediately once we turn on the app, you can see right here I found the device. So I found the Delta 2 Max device. So you guys do click on add. You guys can connect it onto the Wi-Fi on here. So I'm actually do that first. So right now it's connecting onto the device, you can see. So it might take a few seconds, a few minutes. So right now it's binding to the phone. And now it's done. And give you guys the option to select what you guys want to use, whether if you guys want this one or this one. This one right here is the older user interface, and this is the new one. So we'll use this one right here. Once you guys have it connected, this is what it actually looks like. So similar to the other one, it shows the input, output, the battery percentage on here, and the remaining time on here as well. And the bottom part here gives you guys the option to turn on and turn off the AC option, USB option, and DC option. So for example, if I do turn off, turns off, turn on, turns on. If you guys go setting page on top, it gives you guys the option to control a lot of things on here as well. Whether you guys turn on or turn off the beep sound. If you guys want to share the device, energy management, AC charging speed, car input option, smart generator option, X-Boot technology. Just like any of the other power stations, it does give you guys X-Boot technology that allow you guys to use it for stronger devices, just like how I show you guys in the test. We do have the timeout option, firmware update, etc. So you get pretty much everything on here, just like the Delta 2 device and the other device as well. So this is pretty much what the app looks like when you guys got all set up. So I think it's actually really cool how it does give you guys the option to use a fast charging option or slow charging option. Maybe for the slow charging option to slowly charge the device while you guys are using maybe multiple devices. If you can see how when we do use like multiple devices, like the electric kettle and the steamer at the same time and charging at a fast speed, it doesn't support it. So maybe if you guys were to use it at a slow speed, it will support it to keep the product charged while you guys are using your device at the same time, which is really cool. But that is pretty much everything that's on the product. Now that we show you guys what's included for the packaging and also how well the product works, now to answer the question of whether or not it's worth it or not. So for this part, I do have to say that it is pretty worth it. If you guys want to need one of these, especially if you guys are in the market looking for a high quality portable power station that give you guys the power that's on here and everything else in terms of AC option, DC option, USB option, and USB-C option, and so much more, then I do have to say that it is pretty worth it. But then obviously for those of you guys who don't want or don't need one or have one of these, that obviously don't buy one and save them on something else actually do need. So that's basically everything for this video itself. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button in the bottom. That will definitely help this video out, and it'll definitely help with the algorithm as well to promote more videos for you guys so you guys can see more of the videos or similar videos as well. But as always, make sure to stay positive, be you, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Is It Worth It? Peace.